BCA-101, Introduction to Computers Information Systems. Day 2. It's a Friday. Alright. The end of the first week. We actually started out today. We talked about some key things inside all computing devices. They all have some type of a processor that does the actual processing of the instructions. They have memory, where the instructions are stored, and then where the instructions are held temporarily while being processed. So the instructions get processed and back and forth. The information travels along this electronic bus, and connected to that in a lot of situations would be a hard drive. Okay? Now, a lot of times in your device, like your phone, these are actually together. They're one big group of flash memory. We'll learn more about that later. Talking about computing devices. In our situation here, this is connected then. This is actually in the IT area, and we'll talk a little more about that later. Now, these things I just showed you typically are referred to as hardware. The physical components of a computer system or a computing device, physical components. What makes the hardware work is software. Some type of instructions that tells the hardware what to do. Who writes software? People. Who use computers? People. And we talk about this distinction here. In this course, hopefully everybody will feel comfortable using technology beyond just checking your email or looking something up on the web. Hopefully beyond that. And as we work our way towards becoming a little bit more of an expert, where we know a little more than the typical person. So that's why this arrow is here. We're moving from just being users to being some form of experts. We all start out at some level. You will find some people seem to know a lot about computers already, and some people seem really in the dark about some things of technology. Our goal is to take, no matter where you are, to move you forward. That makes sense? So you have to look at what you can learn moving forward. And don't worry about where other people are at. Alright. These 3 lines, we're talking about other things connected to the computer, like the display, the monitor, mouse, keyboard, maybe a DVD drive, and so forth. USB ports. Key thing about computers. We talked about software. I gave the example, why is Facebook so popular? Well, a lot has to do with how the people at Facebook, the software engineers, designed it, how it works. Mark Zuckerberg, how he thought of how it'd be best to have some type of a social just any kind of a social network electronically. This stands for user interface, how the user interfaces. Okay, really, the user interfaces through software to get the hardware to do something. This stands for user experience. Do they enjoy their communication through? A great example of user experience would be gaming. They really enjoy the software of the game, how it feels, how the hardware makes it work, and so forth. Kind of a messy page. Over here we talk a little bit about networks. For example, here at the college we have a local area network. Basically, typically under the management of one entity, business, company, whatever, typically, and in the same basic area, geographically. Here on campus, we have the dorms, we have apartments, we got the main buildings and so forth. A lot of it's connected with fiber, some of it's connected through the air. We have this IT department in the Papa John Center, and that connects in. And then the whole network connects out to the internet. So, NIACC has a site at Charles City. So when we connect to that, that's connected to the internet. When we connect to that site, now we have a wide area network. We're using some other provider, internet service provider. Here, internet service provider. And Charles City, they're using an internet service provider. And then we use the internet to make this connection. So now we have a WAN, a wide area network. A lot of companies might have a site here, and then they pay some provider to make the connection between their two sites. That's also a WAN. Typically covering a large area geographically that wouldn't be connected together. The internet itself is not a wide area network, but it creates wide area networks. So here we can have an example. When we connect into the internet, we connect to an internet service provider. For example, me at home, we use Mediacom. The college uses the ICN to connect in. So I can be at home and I can use my Google Docs. I could be at the college and come in and use my Google Docs. I could be at a hotspot, some cafe that allows me to connect in and get to my Google Docs. In fact, if you have it set up, there's a way to connect back in your house. Mine's not set up that way, but you can do that. Some key points. We have hardware. And this ability to have computing devices, and then those devices can communicate to other devices using some form of a network. What makes this all work, we have software. That's able to communicate with the hardware and who communicates with the software. Users, experts. In fact, experts are smart enough that they can manipulate hardware too. Like put in a new video card into the computer. Just as an example. Alright, that's it for today.